Hi, this is Vicki with Learning Home Volunteers, and welcome to our session on pumpkins. With fall brings pumpkins and squashes out of the fields and onto the table. Maybe you and your family will visit a pumpkin patch where you can actually pick your own pumpkins. Some of the pumpkins are tiny, like this one, but some are really large. Some pumpkins are orange, but they come in many different colors, including white. Some pumpkins are grown to be eaten, and some are used in soups, breads, and pies. And we're even going to make ourselves a pumpkin quick bread in our session so you can taste pumpkin for yourself. We will use some pumpkin seeds to actually help us do some counting too. You guys ready to get started? Well, I have a lovely collection of pumpkin books, starting with this great nonfiction offering about the field to table journey of this year's pumpkin pie. This book has great pictures of all the different stages our pumpkins went through to get to our table. This next book, titled The Very Best Pumpkin, is about Peter who finds a lone pumpkin in a field and decides to turn it into the very best pumpkin. Our third book is written by Linda White and is about a little girl who's really just not a big fan of pumpkins. But through an accident, she finds herself with way too many pumpkins. We'll get to see what she does. I think all the fun we have with pumpkins, it's easy to forget that pumpkins are actually food. So we thought it'd be a great way to start our session by having us bake a pumpkin quick bread. Quick breads are breads that are actually made without yeast and are considered quick because you don't have to wait for the yeast to cause the bread to rise. So in your box is a mix to make pumpkin bread and a love plans to break them in. So follow the directions on the package. The bread, pumpkin bread, is a little bit sweet with a cinnamon taste, and I can't wait to hear what your child thinks of the bread. Here in the United States, the pumpkins you can cook with are actually called sugar pumpkins. The pumpkins are yummy and used for lots of treats. In this first dish, which I had a couple years ago, it's called candied pumpkin and was actually served to me on the Day of the Dead. Really sweet, really nice treat. Another delicious choice is actually pumpkin soup. This soup has beans, potatoes, cumin, jalapeno, and is really delicious. I had this actually visiting friends in Mexico, which was really nice. Pumpkins are available in cans all year round, super nutritious, and always available, which is really fun. So you should try cooking with it sometime. This is activity number two, one of our sweet felt stories that I think this, when I think of this year, especially around this time of year, is Five Little Pumpkins. And in your box, you're going to find a bag with sticks to make a fence and five little felt pumpkins. This is a great activity which incorporates counting with a little rhyme. Your first part of the thing you need to do is to build a fence to put the pumpkins on. You can glue the sticks together to make a fence, and once the fence is ready, you're ready to read the poem. And here it is. Five little pumpkins sitting on a gate. The first one says, "Oh my, it's getting late." The second one says, "There are witches in the air." The third one said, "Ah, we don't care." The fourth one said, "Let's run and run and run." And the fifth one said, "We're ready for some fun." Then, ooh, went the wind, and out went the lights, and the five little pumpkins rolled out of sight. I think, my best part is, once the pumpkin or the fence is actually ready for the poem, have the child animate the story by saying the pumpkins, by saying with the pumpkins the lines that they actually say and as they roll out of sight. This is activity number four, and certainly the star of the session. Thanks to a generous donation of a donor that has provided us with a pumpkin for each child, we will be able to try a little hammering and explore pumpkins in a little more detail. And in your box, you're going to find a bag marked for, and in it, you'll find a mallet and golf ties. The idea is that the child use their hammer to pound the teas into the pumpkin. This, of course, will make a hole in the outside of the pumpkin, and the teas can either be removed or left in place. We've included yarn in your bag so that you can connect the pegs together, or maybe you want to make a triangle or a rectangle or a square using the yarn like we see here, um, using the different stuff, the actual pegs themselves. If you like, you can open the pumpkin with a child after you're finished with their pumpkin pounding. And if you haven't opened a pumpkin before, the best way is actually to cut a circle at the top of the pumpkin. And inside, you're going to find strings of seeds mixed with the pulp that we see on the other side of the screen. I would suggest putting the pumpkin on paper before getting the pieces out of the pumpkin. I like to do the first scrape with my bare hands to get the big chunks of seeds, and then use a stiff spoon to actually scrape away the stringy flesh, working from the top of the pumpkin down in concentric circles. Now, of course, once the um, flesh is actually out, you can carve a face or just cut it in half and cook it. Well, that's all for this week. I'll see you next week when we continue our session on pumpkins.